I saw this video on YouTube and I could not, you have to watch it. These are small kindergarten children explaining their first day of school. Enjoy this. Is it showing? You can't hear it. I hear it.
What did you learn in school today, Ted? You learned nothing? Not one thing?
What did you do?
I didn't learn my ABC.
You didn't?
You learned in school?
We learned about
What'd you do? Have fun, huh?
So, Mara, did you make any new friends today?
Yeah.
Yeah, what were their names?
I don't know.
You made a new friend today?
Yes, I did.
And what's her name?
I forgot.
Do you have any friends in your class?
A lot of friends. Max, Patrick, SpongeBob.
Oh, SpongeBob's in your class?
Are you excited to go back tomorrow? Okay, say bye-bye.
Okay, I am not sure that you were able to hear all of that. Hopefully you got part of it. It was adorable little children talking about their first day of kindergarten, and it was hysterical. So anyway, let's get started. Look at this precious little girl. When you're thinking about setting up your pre-kindergarten classroom, you need to always be reminded, I did anyway, that the children that are coming in are very young. They're little. So when you're trying to meet their needs, they have a lot of them. The room needs to be healthy, clean. It needs to be safe. The furniture needs to fit them. And that's especially probably something to really pay attention to if you're serving both 3 and 4-year-olds. They're going to have to go potty, and they're going to get hungry and thirsty and tired. And you need to be ready for all of those events during the day. It's good to think about how many kids are there, and how can you make sure you're seeing all of them at once. It's good to have some area in the classroom where they can personally store their items. They may have a new backpack or a new little sweater or jacket, and where are they going to put those items? And with this age group, it's really awesome to have a place in the classroom that's kind of soft, cozy. And when you have all of these items, then what ends up happening is that the children feel safe. Pre-kindergartners also will wonder, do I belong here? So we want them to feel very connected to the classroom. And remember, they're all very, very different. They're of different races and ethnicities. They're boys and girls. They have a lot of different abilities. Some of them have had many experiences. They have older siblings that have been to school, and others, this is their first experience with anything associated with school. They may all speak different languages. And another way to really help them feel connected is by using their name. It's nice when their name is even in the classroom before they get there. And again, notice I put personal storage. When a child feels like this is my place, this is where I put my papers, this is where my backpack belongs, it helps them feel connected. When children feel connected to the classroom, they also feel respected. Young children also wonder, how will I know what to do? I love this child's face. Doesn't he look like, uh-oh, what's next? And so often children come in our pre-kindergarten classrooms and they may not have any experience or any knowledge about what people do at school. So to help with that, it is great to use a visual schedule. And by that, what I mean, it's an actual physical, either material or poster or something, and it lists each activity that's going to be done during the day. And of course, it would use words for those activities, but it would also be helpful if it had pictures for all of those activities, since these young children do not read yet. It should be posted at their eye level, and the teacher should refer to it throughout the day. So every time an activity is being changed, then the children would see the teacher move the arrow or whatever down to the next word or picture. After a while, the children will know what part of the day, what's next, and they'll stop asking, when is my mommy coming? Why is this all important? Because young children really need a predictable routine that fairly stays the same on a daily basis. Young children may also think, is school going to be too hard? If they have older siblings, they might think of a classroom as a place with a bunch of desks and chairs. It doesn't look too fun, and it looks too hard. And so we don't want our pre-K classrooms to look like this slide. So a more age-appropriate classroom would have defined areas of play. The children should be able to look in the room and figure out, oh, in this area, I get to play with dolls. In this area, I get to build things with blocks, that kind of thing. So the areas need to be defined. It's really good if there's an area that all the children can be together as a large group, where the children could be broken into smaller groups and even have some individual instruction. Items in the classroom should be labeled with words and pictures. Remember, the children can't read, so they need the pictures. And when they're labeled, children are much more likely to put things back where they belong, which is always helpful. And again, you will notice I have said personal storage, because in an age-appropriate classroom, that is really, really important. When a classroom is age-appropriate, then children have experiences that are also age-appropriate. One lends itself to the other. Pre-kindergartners may also wonder, what am I going to learn in school? Okay, you probably have heard the term brain break. So to illustrate what I mean by that, I'd like you to do an activity with me, if you do not mind. I'm going to go ahead and change my screen so you can see me. And I actually want you to stand up where you are. So you are going to stand up. I'm going to try to move my screen so you can see me well. And I'm going to demonstrate a brain break because little children need a lot of different movements. And so I want you to take your hands and I want you to do this. I'm going to try to get within this screen. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You can't see, but I went all the way down. I'll try it again. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is a hard one. And then you would go softer. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Or you may do it the right way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Not only did I practice counting, but I gave their brain a break. I gave them something else to think about. And now I could probably hold a classroom. I can probably hold you all a little bit longer. I'm going to try to do one more video here and we'll get going. Here it goes. This video is on brain development, and you'll see, I want you to think about what we just did in giving the brain a little break and then repeating something over and over and over again and see what this video says. I think you'll make the connection.
A child's experiences during the earliest years of life have a lasting impact on the architecture of the developing brain. Genes provide the basic blueprint, but experiences shape the process that determines whether a child's brain will provide a strong or weak foundation for all future learning, behavior, and health. During this important period of brain development, billions of brain cells called neurons send electrical signals to communicate with each other. These connections form circuits that become the basic foundation of brain architecture. Circuits and connections proliferate at a rapid pace and are reinforced through repeated use. Our experiences and environment dictate which circuits and connections get more use. Connections that are used more grow stronger and more permanent. Meanwhile, connections that are used less fade away through a normal process called pruning. Well-used circuits create lightning-fast pathways for neural signals to travel across regions of the brain. Simple circuits form first, providing a foundation for more complex circuits to build on later. Through this process, neurons form strong circuits and connections for emotions, motor skills, behavioral control, logic, language, and memory during the early critical period of development. With repeated use, these circuits become more efficient and connect to other areas of the brain more rapidly. While they originate in specific areas of the brain, the circuits are interconnected. You can't have one type of skill without the others to support it. Like building a house, everything is connected, and what comes first forms a foundation for all that comes later.
In pre-K, we are in the business of making brain cells, of making and creating brain pathways. That is why we introduce, we reinforce, and we practice. And then we introduce, we reinforce, and we practice over and over again. So hopefully you saw in this video why we do that. Those pathways grow as we repeat activities. And that's what we want for their next level of development. So if we have an environment of learning, the best way to do that is to use all 5 senses and make sure that the experiences that the children have in the classroom are meaningful to them. If they do not live anywhere near an ocean, thinking about ocean activities is not going to have any meaning to them. If they live in the midst of farms, that will be meaningful to them. So whatever concepts you are introducing, reinforcing, and practicing can be made meaningful by thinking about the community that the child lives in. It is good when there are both teacher-directed and child-initiated activities. And there should be lots of social interactions, not only between the teachers and the students, but between the students and the students. A pre-kindergarten classroom should not be quiet. And if children have classroom experience where intentional guided learning takes place, then we are doing our best to keep them engaged. Little kids also need to move. They are very active, and they do best when they are learning. Look at these 2 pictures of a brain. One of them was taken, it's a composite of 20 brains, actually. One of them on the left-hand side is after students have been sitting quietly. Look how much of the brain is engaged, and look how much of the brain is not engaged. Look at the other picture of the brain. That's after walking for 20 minutes. There is much more of the brain is engaged. So that's what we want to remember. Our children need to be active. Children learn by doing. So do we. Adults learn by doing. And if you want someone to retain something, they only retain 10% of what we read to them, 20% of what we hear, 30% of what we see, 50% of what we hear and see, 70% of what we hear, see, and say, and 90% of what we hear, say, see, and do. Now you know why we need to use all 5 senses. We want to be at that 90% level. Children need to move, and using all 5 senses and their entire body will help them do that. I don't know if you've ever heard this. Sitting is the new smoking. We have a large obesity problem in our nation, and it can start with very young children. Children do not these days get the same physical activity as they used to in days gone by. And we need to, in the classroom, help balance that out by having them be active. So an active classroom would mean that you are using age-appropriate time frames. So the children aren't sitting at large group time for 45 minutes. That's too long. It's best if you add movement into almost everything that you can think of. It is good when the outdoor environment actually is considered an extension of the classroom inside. Children can be engaged even in transitions. So walking to the playground, children can be citing their ABCs, or they can be following the leader. There's lots of things children can do to stay engaged. The majority of the day in a pre-kindergarten classroom should be spent in learning centers where the children are actually choosing which activities to do, that have all been designed by the teacher to follow the curriculum. So when children have active learning experiences, you're going to know your classroom is ready for a 4-year-old. We're going to take a poll now. We talked about learning centers just for a little itty bitty bit of time. So what I would like you to do, either on your laptop, on your computer, or on your smartphone, if you would not mind, go to slido.com. And the event code is Learning Centers, all as one word. Again, that is slido.com, and you would enter the event code as Learning Centers, all one word. So the first question in our poll is, what is the recommended number of learning centers a pre-kindergarten classroom should have? So go ahead and answer that question. And I'm going to give you some time because I know some of you, you might just be getting into slido.com and punching in learning centers. All righty, look at there. Most of you thought 7, and that's the right answer. Awesome. So a pre-kindergarten classroom should have 7 learning centers. That's a lot. So think about your classroom. I know you guys are all in the period of time now. School might have even started. So think about how many classrooms that you have. 7 is the right answer. Good job. Okay, let's look at the next one. What is the teacher's role when the students are participating in the learning centers? So you have blocks, a dramatic play and writing and a puzzle area and even maybe a sand table and on, an art area, a writing area, a library area. The children are all playing in those areas. What's the teacher doing? So look at that and go ahead and put in your answer. Most of you think it's all of the above, and it's all of the above. The teacher's role when the students are participating in the learning centers is very important. That teacher needs to supervise and is best when they are positively interacting with the students and expanding their learning while they're going on. Good job. I like it. I like it. So let me get back to where I was. So we're going to get down to concluding now. We covered a lot of things. So think about your classroom. Is it ready for 4-year-olds? You're ready if your classroom is meeting your young child's needs. And the way to do that is to remember they are little. Think about that. You might even want to get down on your knees and walk around the classroom. What do they see? You're ready if the uniqueness of each student in your class is represented in some way in the classroom. Remember, they should feel like they belong there. There's a doll that looks like them. Their name is in the room. You're ready if you're using a visual schedule. Because remember, they need a predictable routine, and you having it in a visual format will help them memorize the schedule. And again, they'll stop asking you when mommy's coming. You are ready if your classroom looks like 4-year-olds should go in there. Remember, they need to have age-appropriate experiences. There shouldn't be little desks in the classroom, not for 4-year-olds. It needs to look like a 4-year-old would have fun there. And you're ready if you've planned for experiences that will not only interest the children, but it'll expand what they already know. Because remember, they need your help in getting ready for kindergarten. And you're ready if your classroom is active, because remember, they learn best when they are moving. I want to share some resources for you right now. The information that is shared with you today came from several of these resources that are listed here. There are, it looks like 3 books here: Setting Up the Preschool Classroom, Early Childhood Environmental Rating Scale, Getting It Right from the Start, The Principal's Guide to Early Childhood Education. If you liked what you heard today, you want to get those books. Those books spell out really, really well what a pre-kindergarten classroom should look like. There is really good information within the Texas Pre-K guidelines, and I put the page numbers there that are specific to a classroom environment. Your regional ESC is ready to help you if you need help with this. And of course, the Children's Learning Institute has many, many resources online that can help you if you have more questions. Our website is listed there. And if you need to email us, you can email us at earlychildhoodeducation@tea.texas.gov, and we would love to chat with you more about this. This slide gives you our entire early childhood education division. You'll notice my name is like in the middle on the bottom. So if you need to contact me directly, there is my email address. I can also be reached at 512-936-9363. And we would love to help you in any way. Who has a question, either out of something that was mentioned today in the webinar or anything else? I see a couple of you had some, I see a hi, Tamala, hi. I can see some of you were having some difficulties, so hopefully Scott was able to help you. Okay, any questions? Remember, you can always get a hold of us And don't hesitate to do that. We would love to help you, love to chat with you if you especially have a specific question about the classroom environment. Well, seeing no questions, I think I will end this presentation. Thank you for joining us. And don't forget that we will be doing these webinars on a monthly basis. Don't hesitate to get on our listserv, the ECE listserv, so that you will know when we're doing it. Thank you and have a great rest of the day.